Hello, it's Paul Clegg here from Marketing Crew. You'll notice I've changed the name and I'm transitioning everything over from Somerset Marketing Hub to Marketing Crew because we are a crew. We get together to talk about marketing, and it's not just myself with a background in marketing. Everybody's got a background and experience of marketing their own business, some of the challenges, some of the things that they've found worked, and because everybody contributes and helps one another, I thought it'd be more appropriate to rename it Marketing Crew. Now, last week we talked about, or the last few weeks we've been talking about audiences and reaching out to those audiences. And last week we talked in particular about the importance of getting organized with a CRM of some description. It was really born out of the fact that I asked people, how on earth do you stay in touch with the people that you have on your database? Do you have a database? And it was felt that we ought to talk about CRM systems. Now, I've used many of them, and I suppose I've used many because I've been searching for the ideal one that suits me. Now, I found one that suits me brilliantly, but it's not necessarily to suggest that you should change the system you've got, because the bit like the camera, the best camera you've got is the one that you've got with you. The best CRM system is the one that you use on a regular basis to help you organize your business. I don't know how anybody manages without it, but we'll see. So whatever I'm going to be talking about, if you've not got a CRM system, this is well worth trialing out. You can trial it for 14 days, and if you then carry on, then that's fine. If not, some of the things I'm going to show you, you possibly can use in your own system. Now, a customer relationship manager is what we call a CRM system. It's a way of organizing your audience or your audiences. We know from previous conversations that if you've got a product or a service, you have to put it in front of that audience. If you don't put it in front of them, if you don't grab hold of their attention and say, hey, look at this, this could be useful to you, then you're blind to that audience. So it presupposes you know what your ideal audience is, and that's the subject for another time. But I want to talk about your audiences that you have, and you have a number of them. First of all, and the question is, are these people in some sort of CRM system? They are in some sort of system, because if you've got a mobile phone, they're in your mobile phone if you're in your address book. But these are the different audiences that you may have. First of all, it's the people you know in the community. It's your friends, family, friends on and off Facebook. Now, in most cases, they're either on the phone or they're on Facebook, so they're on two systems. How about the prospects, the people that you've been talking to about business, people you've met at a networking event, people that that's telephoned you, made an inquiry. Some of those people have made an inquiry and they're interested. So maybe you could call those suspects. They're people that are a little bit more just curious, that are a bit more interested. And then, of course, those people that become customers are maybe people that you've been referred to that are still in the prospect or the suspect stage, or maybe just a relationship. Now, bearing in mind, they're different people there. They're the same people, but they're fitting under different categories. Do you have those listed in those ways, or they're just heaped in? How about the people you meet at networking events? I've met thousands. I've always kept their data. How about those people you've got a stronger, closer relationship with, maybe because they're on a weekly call, or you've got some sort of strategic partnership with, maybe they're referral partners, the people that are regularly giving you referrals, or people that you're regularly giving referrals to them. Do you have those sectioned out? Because they are an audience. How about the people that you know and the interests you share? I have about 5 or 6 people that are we're all football fanatics. I've got one's a Spurs supporter, 2 are Liverpool supporters, and myself and my pal are Manchester United supporters. So if anything happens that are related to football, I know I'll probably forward something to them. I stay in touch with them about those subjects. I think Ray Clements, the Liverpool goalkeeper, died this week. And so naturally, I didn't know whether my friends had the information, but I sent it on. And one of my friends, the Spurs supporter, said he used to play football with him. So it's amazing how it builds those You've got close relationships because you've got like-minded interests. In a business point of view, it could be the number of people I've been speaking to about lead generation. It could be the number of people that have been on or are interested in workshops. Because if I've got a new workshop, I can reach out to those people. If I've got something interesting about lead generation, I can reach out and pass that information on. Now, the person that's interested in lead generation may already be a customer or a suspect, so they could have, they could cross over into different audiences. People that maybe I've spoken to about videos, video interviews, strategy, etc. Now, I'm applying that to my business and my circumstances, but you could apply it to yours in a different way. Now, we talked about it earlier on in the introductions, and we share lots of ideas here. They're easy, but information is the hardest thing. So we know that business is about relationships. It's about building relationships. And they say that the real value of your business is based on the number of customers you've got or the size of your audience. I think it's one step further than that. The quality and the sustainability of your business is dependent upon the relationship you have with that audience or audiences. And I don't know many people that will disagree with that, but implementing that is a challenge. And that's where a CRM system can help you. It's slightly different from an automation system, an email system like maybe Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp, etc. They tend to send information out. That's fine. I have those. But the CRM system is about audiences and building a relationship with that audience and staying on top of that audience. The trouble is when you're juggling so many balls in the air, you drop some. In fact, we all know we drop many. But staying in touch mustn't be one of those that we drop. And it's usually the first thing we do drop because we get busy. So I'm going to show a system where you can bring in, and any good CRM system should be able to do this. You can bring in all your contacts and you can segment them. You can group them into the groups that I've just been describing. They can be audiences, they can be tags, etc. And I'll show you how I do this. In any CRM system, you can add as much detail as the system will provide, but most good systems allow you to produce custom fields. And I'll show you how I've added custom fields. Custom fields are fields, database fields, that are relevant to you. So for instance, it's Barry, could be he's got customers that buy business cards, banners, posters, promotional material. He could have that as separate custom fields, okay? So that he can access that audience or that list of people at the click of a button. If he's got a special promotion on banners, he can call up the people that have had banners or have been interested in banners. Or he can just email everybody, obviously. This particular system I use links to social media fields. And that's one of the things I like about it, because one of the challenges you've got is that you have information on a phone, you have information on your Google Outlook or whatever email system you've got, and you have the different audiences on social media, on LinkedIn, etc. And actually reaching out to those people means that you've got to think, where are they? And they're all over the place. And that's one of the challenges you get with any keeping up, even if you're trying to keep up. You can import contacts into a system, usually via individually. You can type the details in. So I know Barry has recently been looking at that. He's got all of his data on a database, an Excel spreadsheet, maybe a couple of hundred contacts. Well, you can convert that Excel spreadsheet to a CSV file, and you can then take that file and you can import it into a CRM system via that CSV field. You have to map where each of the columns go, but it's like once you've got that, it's so easy, it's all in your system. All you then need to do is to decide to categorize them, etc. The system I've got in this, by the way, the HubSpot system is very good. It's free. And it has a free business card scanner. And that was the one thing I missed when I went over to this particular system. But in December, they are introducing a business card scanner. So you'll be able to have, because I have this system on my laptop, but I also have it on my phone, and I can do, I think, almost everything from my phone that this system will do. But in future, I'll be able to scan it from December. I'll be able to scan a business card when we're back, you know, exchanging business cards. I can scan that card, it'll straight away come into the system, and I can send them a welcome or nice to meet you email. And this system, and I've never seen anything before. I've not had the need to use it, but it's got a Chrome extension. If you're using it on Chrome, which they recommend, I can see somebody's website. I can see their contact details, and I can do a little. I can draw a square. I can select their contact details, and with a click of a button, I can pull that data into my contact system. That's pretty unique. What I also like, and I think this is one of the things that I found with CRM systems, it's a way of usually connected with email as well. So I'm forever sending out emails that are basically the same. I send everybody a reminder on a Tuesday night, which has got the login details. And you can set, I've set up in this system those login details as a template. I'll show you that in a moment. It could very well be that when you've met people on a Zoom call, for instance, that you have a follow-up email that says it's nice to meet you, etc., and then sends them a link to your LinkedIn profile or your website or whatever. You don't want those to be too salesy. It's a matter of just following up and reaching out. Very few people do it. Andrew and Nick did it. And that's why we're building a relationship now. So it's very important in terms of that. But you can have templates set up, and I'll show you the sort of things that you might do there. If your CRM system does that, HubSpot does it, but they only allow you 5 on the free version. And I thought it was worth me spending a little bit of money on this system to do that. I think it's only about £10 a month anyway. I can send group emails. So if I want to reach out to any group, a networking group or whatever, I can send out an email to an individual, or can send it out to a group. And that email that goes out to a group, normally when you do that with any system, it sends it out to everybody. But if I want to say something separately to Helen or to Joe, I can actually just get there before it gets sent. I can add something, and again, I'll show you how that's done. What I particularly like about this, and this is where I found it different, is it focuses me on what action next. Very often we do something, we make contact, and that's it. Remember, 82% of sales take place after the 7th touch, but most people only ever make 1 touch, at most 2. Why? Because we don't program ourselves to do that, and it's difficult because we're already getting on with something else. So I like the fact that this forces you, when you've ticked something off that you've done, it asks you what you're going to do next. And you've got to think for a moment. And you may say, there's nothing more for me to do next. So you close that. But you've got to take some sort of action to do that. On that system, and I've only just found out how to do that, so I'm not sure I can demonstrate that, but you can actually set up a funnel sequence, a follow-up sequence. So if I've met somebody at an event, a Zoom event, first of all, I want to make sure that I send them a nice to meet you. The second thing I might want to do is to reach out to them on LinkedIn, maybe the following day, or if they've not reached out to me, I might do that on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn a couple of days later. A week later, I might want to invite them to something. You know, in other words, what is the normal sequence that you would have to make those steps, those 7 steps? You can set this up as a reminder, and it will pop it up on the pre-described dates. The other thing I like is when we're dealing with somebody, sometimes we begin to talk about business. Hopefully, more often than not, you have this conversation, and you've got a potential deal going. It's what they call deal. And you can set that up, and I'm going to show you how you can set that up. A number of CRM systems are now introducing and doing that. But you can actually set it up as deal. So what are the active business deals are you working on? I'll show you some of the ones I'm working on right now. But also, and again, it's something else I've just discovered, because you don't discover everything all at once. You can actually produce a quote. So if I've talked to somebody about lead generation, I might talk about setting up a database if they haven't got one. I could then do the lead generation campaign. I could do the monthly follow-ups. Those three, I'd be charging for 3 things. But the person I'm talking to has already got a CRM system, so I'm only going to talk about these 2 or this. I can actually have those as quotes set up. And I can set those quotes up, and those quotes can automatically go in an email with the total as, you know, this is what we've agreed, payment, blah, blah, blah. So you can build products or service into your quote or not. I mean, I haven't so far, but I will in the future. They can also be prepared on the fly. So you may be discussing something special with somebody, something a little bit unusual. It could be a quote for a particular type of exhibition setup that maybe Barry's doing. You can quote that as you do an invoice, and you can include it in the quote on the fly. And also, and I'm not about to do this because I don't have Sage, and it's a pity Mark's not here, because you can link it to Sage Accounting. What it does, I don't know, but there you go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a demonstration. So a quick demonstration, then I'm going to open it up for your questions. These are the things that I've got listed on my to-do list, or my action list. And in actual fact, every one of my contacts is listed there. And sometimes we have lists that we get overwhelmed by them. We get distracted by the thing. Your mind's all over the place. I think everybody recognizes this, but there's a little button there that goes focus. And I can set what I want to focus on, by the way. I can show 3 days of upcoming events after today. All right. And that's what I've done. So I've got 2 things running at the moment. I'm doing a new business workshop, which I dated the November the 14th, because that was when I was preparing for it. I've actually done that. And I've also got to connect with one-on-one to find an invoice that I've got to invoice the Lions for. Paul Timmons has just registered for the new marketing event. By the way, I can. So Mary Greggs, I'm going to check with her at 11 o'clock that she's organised for this evening's webinar. Julie, we agreed to spotlight for the 10th of November, but she's not been on the last couple of calls, and events have organised, have overtaken. So I'm not going to do that today. But what I will do is I'll go onto her account, and I'll notice here, instead of today, I can either put it on tomorrow, next week on Monday, or I can select a new date. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to select it for then. Obviously, I can talk to her. So it's now on December. So if I go back to my list, she should disappear from that. I'll refresh that. She's disappeared. So I've got future dates. The next 3 days are built up. I've got a video call with Izzy. I've been talking to Kelly about lead generation systems. I did a video with Andrew Snell. I'm following up with the videos I did for him. And there's a group that I've been having dialogue with over in the States. So that's how it basically organizes that. Now, one of the things that that you will want to do is I talked about setting up different contact fields. So if I look back on this one and I look at Kelly, you'll notice that I've tagged her. First of all, there's engagement. Secondly, I've got her tagged in different business setups. She's part of Marketing Crew, but also I've got a separate contact field. And my contact field is that she's part of Marketing Crew. I've met her at a Marketing Crew event. So if I look at this, that's where I set it up. So if I look at the business network, I've set it up as a drop-down menu. So I set up people have met at Marketing Crew, people have met at BNI 303, which is in Wincant, ex-BNI members, Bath Business Focus, Sherborne Core, that was a promotion. People I met on a call in the States, Lions members, etc. So you can set those up for all the different meetings you've met people at. So if I go over back to my system here, and I want to contact people that on the marketing crew, they're all of those people. I can actually set up a filter, and I can select people that I've met at the people that, they're all the people that I reached out to for that campaign that I did for BNI in Dorset. 165, there were nearly 200 people, but I've left with 165 people that are still live, and it tells me the last time I sent an email to them. Okay, so those settings can be set up there. Now let's say I want to send out an email to everybody. I can send out an email, so it automatically brings up, I've connected it to my Gmail account, it's connected to my Gmail account, and it's got those 11 people. So I'm just going to do a test now, and I might want to say something to the whole group. I've got my templates, the first email I sent out to the Dorset people, the second and the third. I've got one here called a crew reminder, and it sets up that. Okay, so straight away, if I now preview that, it's going to take the first name on the list, hi Kelly, okay, and I can go through, and as I click through, it says hi Nick. But to Mark, I actually want to edit individually. So on Mark's, I can actually say, sorry, we missed you today. Carry on. So they're all basically the same. Barry, what do you think? Can I help you set it up? Now, when I'm happy that I've done my individual ones, and in most cases we don't, we just send out on block, but this personalizes something. So you can imagine, I'm going to take those out at the moment. Let's, well, I'm going to send that to all of you. I've sent it. And Barry will get something slightly different there. So let's just look again, email. Now this one is I've worked in the beauty industry for a long time, and I still am an affiliate with a particular company I recommend. They've got a great big fabulous new nail system out. So it could be that I'm having a conversation with somebody about this particular product, and I say, tell you what, I'll send you some information. So I can pull that template up, and I can change. Can add something to the whole template, but if I look at that again, it's got hi Kelly, hi Nick. Mark's not going to be interested in strengthening his nails, but Julie might. And of course, because of my dub connection, my video, I've got I can import a photograph, I can into the template or a video, etc. And I'm not going to send all that. Come out of that, but that is a really useful facility. Can we go to Barry? You notice that's a really nice picture of Barry. That and I can edit that picture if I want. I'm not really bothered. I don't pull that in. It comes in from when I added Barry Tinson at AEM, it pulled this data in straight away. So I can print that data off. I can star Barry because he is a star. But I can go straight to his LinkedIn contact. So I'm building a relationship, I'm communicating with Barry, and straight away I'm at Barry's. All right. We go to Twitter or his Facebook feed. So I've got Barry's picture there. Bearing in mind, I want you to bear in mind here, that when I pulled in, if I was doing a lead generation campaign, I could, and I pull in the data from my lead generation campaign, even with people I don't really know, it pulls in this data. So I can, and it'll put, if they've got a website, it'll pull in their website details. And I want to talk about, I've had a conversation with Barry. Let's discuss banners, video call Friday. Okay, that now is in on a Friday. Let's say I've done that. I've discussed the banner. It's come up on my day, my day's contents. And by the way, it sends me an email every day with what's outstanding and what I've got to do today. I now say, right, I've done that. I marked it as complete. It says now what next? Order banner. Don't have any money until this date, so I'll order it then. Okay, so it's crossed the first one out and it's forced me to do another one. Save it. But let's say I'm talking to Barry about lead generation. I can now add a deal name, Barry. Amount, because he's got a lot of money. I can put an option in there. I can do it, and I can save that. And I can also put deal items. So let's have a look. Lead generation, 5 to 10 business categories, £1,500. I don't charge that, by the way. So I'll take that out. Set up, import, tag, and sequence contacts. Again, for Barry, I wouldn't charge that. But, and then a monthly campaign. So I can put those in and save them. And now, when I send an email to Barry, see whether this works. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to provide you with a solution. The details are as follows, blah, 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 total. Do you have any questions? So I think I've shown you enough there. What I'd like to do now is open up for unmute everybody. Where are we? Right, we're all unmuted. So any questions, any thoughts about that?
It looks very intuitive, Paul, I must say. The way it works, very fast as well.
Well, bearing in mind I'm doing it in front of an audience, so I found I've used some pretty sophisticated and pretty expensive CRM systems, and they are very good, but they're built for big companies, big, with organizations and for people to run. Some of them are just overcomplicated. I think most systems, they take a bit of getting used to. You've got to get your head around them. There's a little bit of a learning curve. But what I like about this, well, all of them have good video tutorage, etc. But what I particularly like about this system is that it will grow, but it's small enough that I can handle. I'm not trying to communicate with 2,000 people. I couldn't handle that anyway. I can send an email out to 2,000 people, but it's hardly a relationship. This is about real building of relationships. And once I don't know any other way to do it, to keep me organized. In the end, it's still getting on the phone, doing a video call, meeting up with people. That's what it's about. But I'm finding using this is less is slipping through the crack that used to, and that's what happens. Things slip through the crack. Barry.
Yeah, looking at it, Paul, it seems to be a bit like a sophisticated diary.
Yeah.
Like a diary with a few bells and whistles on.
I think there is an element of diary use there if you were to use it that way. I reckon it'd be amazing for you, Barry.
So are there other systems that you've looked at in this small business arena?
I've looked at lots of systems, and by the way, I've had things. I've got data on a HubSpot account. I've got a data on different email systems. I use a particular email system for the restaurant that Helen and I work with, but I don't include those in this system. And I've more or less put HubSpot to one side, because remember what I said, the best system is the one that you use. There's no point in having this system if you're not going to use it.
So second question then, how much is it?
There's a 14-day no credit card required trial. And I think it's about €11 a month for basically it. And bear in mind, HubSpot's free. And I still prefer, I prefer to pay the $11 or the €11 or whatever. It's about that. But the point is, I agree with Joe. I think given what our previous conversations, anybody here, and include Rod in this, should use, if they're not already using a system, and it's something that I mean, by the way, although I've put some prices in there just to show you, if anybody here decides, by the way, if I send you the link and you decide to trial it, that's fine. If you decide to then buy it, then I get a small commission back. So there's no conflict of interest. I'm not bothered. It's neither here nor there. So and anybody on this group, if you decide to go with it, I'll help you at least bring your details in and show you how to set it up.
See, that's my
Yes, Barry,
next question. Sorry to ask loads of questions, but hey, that's me. To set this up is going to take time.
Not very long.
How much time do you think it will take to transfer the Excel spreadsheet over here into
how fast does it take to open your Excel spreadsheet?
2 clicks.
2 clicks. A third click will export it as a CSV file. You're then going to spend 3 hours to find it on your computer. But assuming you put it onto your desktop, you open up OneCRM, you go to contacts, and it says, in fact, no, I'll not show you again. You go to contacts and it says, how do you want to import your data? And you say CSV file, and it says find CSV file. So you find it, you bring it in, and before it brings it in, it wants to know the columns that are in your you've got to match the columns. And that, if somebody's not done it, can be a little bit tricky, but it's not difficult. It takes about 2 minutes. So I'd say inside 5 minutes.
Sorry. You might have to manipulate your spreadsheet first of all to get them in the.
Actually, no, because with most of these, it says, do you want to import this column? You just say no. So you don't have to. You used to have to do that, Joe. I agree, but in this case, you don't. It just said, do you want to, where do you want to match this column? So in other words, if it's a surname, you don't want to match it to an email address because it's going to show in the email addresses. So and frankly, you don't really need many of the things in. Half the things that are on your spreadsheet, or maybe they are, but I would say it takes about 5 minutes to bring it in. The thing that it'll take the time is then to go through it and decide, how do you want to tag them? Your customers will be easy.
One of the other things is, I'm going to hold up a book. Right? I have a page per day, and yes, I've got a diary on the email system, and I just write down things that your to-do list, and I make notes as I'm going along. And it's become I've got a stack of them over there where I can look back and say, now, what did I talk to Cleggie about? Oh yeah, that's right. It was OnePageCRM. Why he chose that instead of Soho or HubSpot, blah. And I've got notes on it, so that's quite useful. It seems to me that I would just have to tweak the way I make notes instead of using one of these scribey things and writing on bits of paper. I'd make my notes on the CRM system. Lots of nodding. Has anybody in the group got a CRM system apart from Paul? Nick, what do you use? Andrew, Joe, oh, right, come on, a shout out. What do you use?
I use a specialist photographic CRM system, so it's slightly different. So with my system, one of the main drivers for me is delivering a fantastic client experience. So for example, I mean, the principles are exactly the same as what Paul's described. So I have all the contact database, email management, pro formas, all of that's there, and it's all customizable. But what I can also do is I create for every client a portal. So when I work with them and they sign their contracts, they have a portal and they can see their contract, their questionnaires, their gallery, all of their communications, their invoicing, and they have a one-stop shop to go to. It's all digital, and then I can deliver images online. I can control digital downloads. So I guess it's taking what Paul's got and it's taking it to another level for an industry-specific piece of software.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
It does exactly the same thing. It's all about making everything automated, simpler. But at the bottom line is giving the client a fantastic experience, so they actually enjoy the process of working with you.
And also saving you time.
Yeah. Yeah, and everything is in one place as well.
Yeah. Now, I'll go back to Andrew in a second, but Barry, I still use a journal and a diary. I still, if something crops up and I've got that with me, I tend to still use it. I could put it on the system, but where I'm dealing from a business, when I'm communicating with people from a business point of view, that this is the system I use. So I might make a diary note, send out, I might say send out notes. Well, for instance, we've agreed here that I would send out a link to tonight's event note. So I might write that in my diary, and maybe when I come off this call, I'll go on to here and I'll put it into here, because I'd sooner send it out on here and I've got a track of it. So it doesn't take away that what I don't do is I don't tend to go all over the place, because that can be really confusing. So you don't have to give up your paper system, but how are you communicating digitally with your customers, your prospects, etc.?
Okay.
And it's then that I would come into this system or a CRM system.
Joe,
Andrew, you have a system.
Well, yes, I've got free version of Insightly, which is great, but cards on the table, I don't use it, and the reason I don't use it is because I've sunk quite a lot of time into it, but I've not really clicked on how I can use it to best benefit me. So what I tend to do, from a to-do list perspective of that element that you've shown on one page, Paul, I was writing stuff in my book, which I still use for notes, but things were starting to fall off the radar. So I've started to use, and it's not a CRM at all, but it's a to-do list thing, and I tend to use Trello now, and that's kept me on track in that perspective. That's been fantastic. But yeah, Insightly is one of those things I've dipped in, I've dipped out, and I've come back and I've come back, and I'm still not using it, and I'm starting to think that maybe one page might be something would be better for me, because from what you've demonstrated, I'm thinking that I would more likely use it.
But Andrew, we are so alike. We are so alike. And just a second, Helen, because you go into something, it's new, it's a bit shiny, and you think, oh, I like the idea to get, there's a nice feeling of mastering this. I know with Trello, you can move things like the pipeline, but if you don't end up using it, you don't get the most out of it. It doesn't become a habit, and that is the big challenge. And I think that's what I like about this company, is that, first of all, an Irish company actually, and they give you the chance to at least try it out. And again, I'll come back to the fact, if you've got a system and you're not using it, might as well not have the system. And it only serves to confuse you. You've got data all over the place. You're becoming a master importing data into things. Helen, and then Nick.
No, just to say that I've used two systems. One is Trello, the other one is Aweber. The Trello works quite well for just keeping day-to-day stuff, but the Aweber is so difficult. So this sounds like a much better system. I'll probably give it a try. Thank you.
Nick.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Paul, with your CRM system, when you send an email to a client, for example, and if they reply back to you, does it come back into your CRM, or does it go into your your mail provider on your computer, for example? Because quite often you end up with information in different places, don't you?
No, I should have shown you that. All the emails I've sent out, you know, are listed. I don't think it does at the moment, but it does on the December update. It will all be listed there. Yeah,
they'll come back into the CRM. That's good.
Yeah, on the video I sent you yesterday, it actually features the update, and it features another couple of things. Joe.
Zoho does that, Nick. If you sync your Microsoft account, it will show within each contact or within a project that all the communication that's been had previously, sending out and returning, and from other people within the team. I'm using that for one of my clients quite heavily. I manage a lot of the project updates, and I put the reminders in and make sure that people are doing what they should be doing. But I've also used HubSpot with another client. MailChimp is the one that I have, but I don't really use it fully. I'm also using Trello with the carpenter that I work with. So I've used quite a few of them, and they're all they are really quite different.
I think that you probably have to, because you have to use the system they're using.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean,
I think
I
it
have
is
friends
preference at the end of the day. It's preference.
So, Joe, you what were you going to huff and puff about?
Well, only because I think it is down to personal preference, and it's what appeals to your eye, I think, and the way of working, and how simplistic you like things to be. So I think it is down to personal choice, because as I say, I use Zoho probably more than I do anything else, because that's one of my bigger clients. I don't like it, really. I don't like it.
I tried Zoho because it was recommended. I don't like it either, and I can't tell you why.
No, I can't really tell you why.
No, as I said, to me it seems a bit clunky, but
I mean, for them, it probably works well for them, because they have lots of different subcontractors and they have to send out lots of quotes to different people. So it does give you a lot of information on one screen about that project. So it probably is more relevant to them. But I think this one would be really good for Barry and for Rod.
To me, it's a very simple system, and you can use the simple part of it to begin with, and then grow as you get more into it. Remember, the best system is the one that you feel comfortable with and you use. Rod, you had a point. And then I'll wrap it up.
It drove me back to France, you know, learning French. And, you know, I never learned French. Going to a French lesson, getting easily distracted by a little Thai lady who had a glass eye was much more interesting than bloody CRMs. I don't know how I'm going to get interested in this, Paul. I don't like it. It's like, you know, the job that you want to do last, that job that, you know, and I could see the value in it, but oh no, mate. Like back to France.
You don't have to. I'm not trying to persuade you, because I know you have a very good system. It's a big diary. I'm always impressed. You have a target list for the number of clients that you want this month. How you implement those targets, I don't know.
But I mean, I realise it's something that I've got to do.
But I have said to you, when it comes to funeral plans, you know, and you said recently somebody gave you decided to go with a funeral plan 6 months after you first spoke to them. Now, if that had been in your system, you'd forgotten about them. And
totally.
Had that been in your system, even if it was just for funeral plans, as their details come in, you know, you send the same stuff out every time. You could just put a template and it's off. And then what's the next action? Give them a call in 5 days' time. Did they receive it? What would they like to do? Give me a call in the middle of February. So you just say next action, February. And therefore, can you imagine how impressive it is? You ring them and you say, mind you probably just do it in your diary. So I don't mind. It's
I do do it in my diary, but sometimes you have to be a bit careful, because if they've died and you're phoning up, cool, right.
Well, no CRM system is going to do that. Then, Nick.
They should have bought it, see?
What I like to do is to go around and just say cheerio to everybody and tell me one thing you've got from today's meeting. And Nick had a question. You might want to turn that into a thing, and then
Yeah, I just think with these CRM systems, you've got to decide if it's right for you, and if going down the IT route doesn't work for you, then I think that's fine. But I think if you put the hard work and the effort in, you definitely get the rewards further down the line. You do have to spend some time learning the system, and B, using it in a way that it actually drives lead generation for you, and then you get the efficiency further down the line if you put the effort in.
It's going to solve a problem for you, and you're right. Barry, you had I don't know, you need to get off, or
no, I don't need to get off. I was going to ask a question, and it was basically to Paul, but you might need to twist Mark's arm. I really enjoyed this. I nearly signed up for a CRM system about 2 years ago, and then I can't, whether it was enthusiasm or cash or I don't know, some reason I didn't. But in the back of my mind, it's something that I always should have. And I think you're right. I think it would suit what I do. Right. So I'll think about it and send me the link. And I might even do the free trial because, shit, it's November. It's lockdown 2.0 and I've got a bit of time. Right. Mark Howard could do a similar session to this, but probably a little more focused on accounts packages.
Yeah, no, that could be. You're right. I think that if everybody's up for that, although it's a marketing thing, if it's of interest to everybody,
it's one of those things that I should do. What with the government wanting us to make tax digital and all that sort of stuff, I could beat the accountant over the head and make him charge me less. So there's a bit of a benefit there.
Good luck.
Mark might be the right person to give us, the benefit of his experience on what might work for our sort of businesses.
If you want the trial, and I'll send it in the email, but it's paulclegg.uk/stay in touch, all one word, stay in touch, because that's what it does for me.
Paul. Send me the link.
I will do. Joe.
And ask Mark.
I will.
Yeah, really good session. Excuse me. Yeah, as I've said, I've used lots over the time, and I think it is down to preference, but I still don't really know which one I think is the best one. And I feel like if I just try another one, I'm just going to be more, I just need to pick one and use it. Yeah. But I think with Rod, I think it is very overwhelming. And I think like at the moment, I've got all my information stored in MailChimp, and it's not personal enough. It's not the sort of communication that we've been talking about. So I think Rod should maybe just focus on his funeral plans. Don't think about doing everything else that he does on a daily basis, because he seems to do that really, really well. Just put in your funeral plans and just get some sort of system going on that, and then you might grow from there.
Yeah, I think that's good advice, Joe. Andrew.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting actually, and it's really good to see these things demonstrated with a real world workflow, because that's really illustrated to me how, like I say, dabbling within Sightly, it can be quite Byzantine and quite overwhelming. So to actually see this and to see it working, in reality, rather than a demo company and all this sort of malarkey, has been really, really valuable. So thank you very much. It's been brilliant.
Good. Helen.
Yeah, and I agree with Andrew. I appreciated seeing that work in action. I'm not the Trello side of it. It works well for me, but the Aweber I do find really difficult. So this might be easier, and I can incorporate both. So yeah, something I'll look at in the future. But thank you very much, Paul.
That's a pleasure. I think Aweber is a very good autoresponder system. It's for emailing. I don't think it's so much of a contact system.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
A number of them are trying to incorporate that, and this is a CRM system that does emails.
I can see that.
So it's not the same as an auto. If I want to use it as an autoresponder, I've got to physically go and. It's not an autoresponder, but I did use it as an autoresponder. because what I did with that campaign is I did the lead generation activity, brought in all the data, sent out to say, are you interested in contacting me? A number of people unsubscribed, so I took them off the system. Some people said, give me a call, so I put interested, I tagged them as interested. Therefore, I then found all the interested ones, and then I collectively communicated with them separately. And all those that didn't reply, I sent a second email at a prescribed time. And then the third, and it got more inquiries. And then the third time, I decided a week later, those that still hadn't replied, I sent an email with a video in it, and I got a little bit further on. So that's just how I did that lead generation. So there's lots of ways. Once you've got a system, I couldn't have done it in any other way, you know. Rod, finally, but thanks for that, Helen. Rod.
No problem.
I found it overwhelming and very, very difficult, and I don't want to do it. But I know I'm going to have to. But I think Joe's probably right. I'll have a look at my funeral plans. But what Joe don't know is that the people now sending me funeral plans that I didn't write myself. So that's funeral plan companies that allocate to a funeral director of the funeral plan company's choice, only send you a modest bit of information. So you can't email them, you can't write to them, you can't phone them because you ain't got those three things. So you only know. Yeah, the ones I've done myself, that shouldn't be a problem. But the pain will be to put them all in the spreadsheet, won't it?
You're like the French patissier that I have challenges with, because he just
not
needs.
France again.
He needs a system, but also, even though if I was to put the system in for him, I can't believe he will do it. He needs somebody to do it for him. You need somebody like Joe to just basically look after you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Right. With that, I'm going to wish you well. I'll send out details following up on tonight's call, and I'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.
Have a great week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.